You are known for a lot of different things, Zach. Great keynote speaker on the forefront of technology and bringing OpenAI to market. But I want to talk about something that's near and dear to your heart, volleyball. Talk to me about your proclivity for beach volleyball. What is the pull? What is the attraction? Because where you are based out of in California, there's every possible activity in the world, right? And
Mhm.
for you, it's beach volleyball. Why?
Can you see my smile widening?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't say volleyball without a smile. I grew up in Southern California specifically and Santa Barbara, which is one of the, 3 meccas of beach volleyball really in the world. I mean, Hermosa, Manhattan, Santa Barbara. And growing up in Santa Barbara, when I was growing up, you didn't play beach, you played indoor and you went and played on the beach. Now the younger generations are specializing, which makes a lot of sense, in the same way that some people are good at, a certain kind of stroke in swimming. We're starting to see as sports mature, they optimize and they specialize. But volleyball was just it still is really one of the most important things in my life. And it's how I learned to be an adult in many ways. I played volleyball at a very high level and got to do a lot of really cool things as a result of it. I played volleyball in high school and college and then briefly after college. And I, you know, basically credit it with learning how to participate in a social setting on a team, compete in healthy ways, set aspirational, ambitious goals. So for me, it represents much more than just the sport itself. Now, I love the sport and I play beach volleyball almost every day that I'm home. I have a girlfriend who was an All American, both indoor and beach. So she's the last of her breed.
So what's it like? What's it like to be the second best player in the relationship?
I mean, quite fun, to be honest. We play co-ed doubles, and I'm often the worst player on the court, and I have no issue with that. That's a lot of fun, and Adley will inevitably watch this and blush, but she's a legend in her own right.
Well,
The
I
point
think her phrase to you is, Zach, the largest room in the house is room for improvement. So
it's in it
let's level up here, would you?
yeah, well, if you watch this play, you'd realize that that wasn't a very funny joke, but rather like a really honest criticism. I think, yeah, look, volleyball is just a super important thing to me. It's nice of you to call it out. I am working right now with a couple folks to start the women's beach volleyball program at UCSB, so I've put a bunch into that. I volunteer assistant coach in at various places. It's just like I think it's one of the most beautiful sports in the world. It's really healthy and good for you. Beach volleyball is one of these things. It's actually quite hard to learn, unfortunately, but if you can play every day, is actually one of these incredible sports that contributes to longevity, whereas many sports actually don't. They harm your bones at a certain age. Playing in jumping in the sand is actually just quite good for you.
Yeah.
So there's not much about volleyball I don't love.
Yeah. I mean, in today's health and well-being moment, longevity is a term that's ubiquitous, and being barefoot on any surface, but really sand and
That's right.
the activation, it's just incredible. And then don't underestimate the difficulty and the challenge of moving around where you're activating other muscle areas that you might not just on a brisk walk or a jog or biking or some other activity where it's more aerobic. So
Yes, you get it. Are you a USA volleyball ambassador?
no, but I'm a hype man for them.
Uh-huh.
And this is, I didn't want to bring it up. This is being sponsored on the side by them a little bit. So I just love when what we try to do, Zach, is we're going to talk about your talks and open AI and the importance of the panorama and what's ahead and what's right now with technology. But it's important for our community here on the podcast, which is ever growing, that they get a little bit of behind the scenes, a little bit of the unplugged behind the music. And, you're not just this, person that worked in tech, is on the cutting edge, goes around the world giving these impactful talks. You're a tech optimist and all these things. But, it's an important aspect of who you are. I think it feeds this, you have free time, you're drawn to the court, you're playing with your girlfriend. It's so the thing that struck me is in all seriousness, you learn to be an adult,
Mm.
because something like volleyball, for me, it's tennis. It's a vehicle.
Yeah, I also love tennis for what it's worth, Seth.
Yeah,
Tennis is my second favorite sport.
it's a vehicle for all the attributes. Being outside, well, there is indoor volleyball, there's indoor tennis. Being healthy, I just got back from Europe. I was in at events in Luxembourg and Milan. I brought my rackets. I played in both places. I met a 77-year-old coach who's from Serbia, played Davis Cup, and another young kid who was from Milan got injured, and he was the number one player at the University of Tennessee, and everything in between, and always working on different aspects of my game. So I can relate to it. When you're driving by, I know in Santa Monica on the way to Malibu and
Mhm.
Pacific Palisades, all those courts, it's really up and down the coast, whether you're in Huntington or whatever. Do you just want to stop and go bump it around?
Well, we play almost every day in Santa Barbara. So if we're driving by, if you can't actually see most of the courts from the road in Manhattan, but once you get to Hermosa, you can drive along the just off the Strand and you see all the courts. I mean, what people don't realize either is like Hermosa Beach now, not that anyone would know or really care, but Hermosa Beach now isn't just the mecca of beach volleyball. It's like the only place to go play high level beach volleyball in the off season. So every national team runs their proverbial office
Right.
out of
Their
from
satellite office.
yeah, we're just, we're blessed in Southern California.
Yeah, I
There's so
mean,
much cool.
and the climate's perfect.
Yeah.
I will say, with the Olympics coming up, it's not beach, but there is beach at the Olympics. Are you following it? What? Dial us in a little bit on kind of the current status of what's going on for the Olympics.
Specifically volleyball.
Yeah,
Oh man, wow. I feel so honored. I happen to be following it very closely. So the US has three great chances to medal in volleyball this in Paris. Men's indoor, women's indoor, and men's well, actually that's not true. We have four good chances. Men's beach, women's beach. On the women's side, there are two exceptional there's one very good team, two exceptional women who make a very good pair, and they're gonna make a bunch of noise, and NBC has already started touting them. On the men's side, we have a really exciting team, Miles Partain and Andy Benesh, who are 20, 21, and 22 respectively, like young
they barely started shaving.
who maybe not even, by the way, they might be 20 and 21, but they are young guys who are reinventing the sport. So like
Mm,
they're jump setting, they're doing all these incredible things on the beach that like we didn't see 5 years ago. And they have a very good shot at a medal. They have a very good shot at podium. The second team, because every country sends two teams.
right.
Our second team right now is up in the air, and there's a Santa Barbara guy, Miles Evans, who has a shot at capturing the points. It seems like it's going to be Theo Brunner and Trevor Cray, but it might be Chase Budinger and Miles Evans, which would be so fun because then we'd have a Santa Barbara guy again in the Olympics. We've had a Santa Barbara representative 7 of the last 8 Summer Olympics
Wow.
in indoor and or beach. And so and Todd Rogers, a Santa Barbara native, is a 2-time medalist and 1-time gold medalist. So there's a lot to be proud of. On the indoor side, the men look good, but gosh, the competition is heavy.
I mean, who do you have? Brazil is always really strong.
Brazil looks incredible. Italy looks incredible. Honestly, France has had a good team. The Japanese right now probably could medal. I mean, that they're sort of reinventing the sport too. So Russia.
Yeah.
The men's indoor game is there's so much parity, and these guys are so big and so athletic that you can sort of anyone can sort of take over a match if they get hot, and
Yeah.
you see a lot of upsets. You see a fair number of upsets at the indoor game.
And the way it's scored and the serving plays such a big
Yeah, if you get someone
part.
back there who gets hot, someone
Yeah.
can rally 4 points off on a serve. They're hitting the ball 85 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And at some point, if you can win 4 points, if you can earn what we call earn, if you can serve and score a point versus siding out,
Right.
you can earn a point. Sometimes you only need 3, and then that's the game because then everything goes back to side out.
Yeah,
Which
I know in tennis, they said Roger in his best 10 years only won 52% of the points or something like that, total.
yep,
So the margins, it's such rarefied air, but it's
thin
so,
margins.
so small.
I bet if you go back and look what Roger probably held serve some incredible percentage of the time.
Yeah.
Like no, you couldn't,
Yeah.
you just like couldn't break him.
And I think his rules were, and I don't know how this would apply to volleyball. His rules were never in the net, like never dump one in the net, never wide,
Mm.
and never miss a return of a second serve.
Mm. Those seem
And
like very good rules. Bet
yeah,
like yeah, give your opponent a chance to make an error and don't give away an easy
yeah,
point. That's it. Yes, for sure, those rules apply in volleyball. There's a term that I learned from a very legendary coach named John Lee, which was better the ball. In other words, if it's a medium pass, try to make it great, try to make a good set, try to make a great hit. And this sort of same rules apply here.
yeah.